you been living in Sri Rangam, Prabhu?
Since I'm born, Prabhuji.
Oh, wow. Wow,
It
wow.
may be now I'm 18,
18,
maybe
wow.
20 years, maybe 20 years. I
Wow,
think so.
wow. So you got introduced to Vaishnavism when, how old were you?
Um, just from second standard, I have been a devotee of Lord Shiva, but
Huh.
until 10th or 11th, I think so, I came to Krishna consciousness,
Huh, huh.
and I'm till now I am a Krishna consciousness. Until now, I am a great devotee of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Ah, Jai. Ah. So at one time, your family Istadevata is Lord Shiva?
No, Prabhuji, they worship everyone. They don't have a specific god. They worship everyone. Since I am also like that, then I will. Then even do you know my journey? Lord Krishna only choose me.
Ah.
I am worshipping Lord Shiva. I am at a second. I will sing a song to Lord Ranganatha, who is residing in Srirangam. I always used to sing. While I am singing, Lord Ranganatha came in my dream. So I asked, why this? I am a Lord Shiva's devotee. Why Vishnu is coming in my dream? I'm thinking like that, and he came in my dream and started talking with me. I want you to become my devotee. Please, can you? He asked me. So I thinking about that. Oh, God is coming in my dream and asking. He is very graceful. So I should become his devotee and become his devotee, Prabhuji.
So then, yeah, who appeared in your dream? Venkanath or who? Who
No,
appeared?
Prabhuji, the Vishnu who is staying in Srirangam,
Oh, that
Ranganatha.
Vishnu appeared. Acha, that Vaikuntha Vishnu appeared, then how you become devotee of Lord Chaitanya? Now, tell me that story.
Uh, I read more story about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. For this Kali Yuga, Gaudiya Vaishnava is the only one which gives liberation, because even though the all sambradayas are there,
Hmm.
for Kali Yuga, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has merged all these four sambradayas and made easy to that every people can get Kali Yuga by Nama Sankirtana. So I am attracted by Mahaprabhu, and said, okay, we should also spread this word of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Let take me intention and preach about Bhagavad Gita. Even most of Hindus doesn't know about Bhagavad Gita. It's very paining. So I took an intention and I spread to my relatives about Bhagavad Gita, about Nama Sankirtana, about Hare Krishna Mahamantra, about Chaitanya Prabhu. What I can do, I am preaching about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Prabhuji.
Wow, Jai, you're very blessed to have the Lord appear in your dream and tell you to become a devotee of Lord Krishna or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and then the deity of Sri Rangam appeared to you and told you, hey, you should become a devotee of Lord Krishna. And then you got the book about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and then you learned more about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu than Lord Venkat. Huh? Sri Rangam.
Ah,
This is very mysterious. Huh?
Ah,
Generally,
even though for me it is mysterious, I don't know how I became the devotee of Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna, how I came to Krishna consciousness. I doesn't know about anything. He showed the way, I am following that way. That's all.
yeah, it's very mysterious. You're 18 years old, you were a devotee of Lord Shiva at one time, then Vaikuntha, Vaikuntha Vishnu appeared, huh?
Ah, yes, Prabhuji. Even if I say to someone, they doesn't believe. So I'm start telling this to everyone. I just tell to devotee and I tell, this your wish to believe or not. That's all.
Right. So just see, how the Lord appears to. So you must have been, some Vaishnava in your previous lives. So the Lord appeared in your dreams, such at a young age, it's
Mm.
18. Or how old
Hare
were you
Krishna,
when
Prabhu.
Hari Krishna? Yes. How old were you when Lord appeared to you in your dream?
Maybe I'm studying in 11th, 7th, 16, maybe, Prabhuji.
Wow, Jai. So you're very blessed to have this wonderful darshan,
Hare Krishna.
Jai. And
Ah,
um, did you know about Srila Prabhupada before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? You learned about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or How was it?
No, Prabhuji, I first got a link in ISKCON, and I also admired how ISKCON is preaching the word of Lord Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And I came to know about Prabhupada and all his works. He gone to USA and he preached the word about the hippies, and he changed the hippies to Krishna devotees. I have always admired about Prabhupada, and then I came to know about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and I also admired about him. Even I know about all the leelas of Prabhupada and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that I came there. Both of them. Even I know about Prabhupada and Mahaprabhu.
Jai. Are the Sri Vaishnavas favorable to the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Sampradaya, the Sri Rangam crowd, or no?
I can't understand, Prabhuji.
No, I'm saying, do the Sri Vaishnavas in Sri Rangam, the head pujari in Sri Rangam, they're Brahmanas, Vaishnava Brahmanas, they're favorable towards Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's cult?
Yes, Prabhu. They don't see partiality. They just see they are Vaishnavas. Oh, if Vaishnavas, okay. But they don't worship Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because their Sambardayas are different. Their Sambardaya is based upon Ramanuja. So there is no intention or there is no use to worship Mahaprabhu because their guru is Ramanuja. So they are worshipping the way that Ramanuja said. We are Gaudiya Vaishnava. For us, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the main, and we are worshipping Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It is according based on the Sambardaya. So, but they give respect to the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as I think. As I seen, they given a respect.
Very good. So, acha. In the Chaitanya, in Sri Rangam, there's two Vaishnava cults, right? There's the Orthodox Brahmanas and the more liberal Brahmanas who are more favorable towards Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's cult. Yes.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes.
Can you describe a little bit about both of these groups?
Okay, Prabhuji. It's very easy only. There is two groups. What is called Tenkalai Vadakalai. Tenkalai means people who worship Vishnu with Sanskrit, only Sanskrit. They don't worship Vishnu in Tamil. In Tamil songs or Tamil like that something. They worship only Vishnu with Sanskrit, all Sanskrit mantras and everything. And Vadakalai means the people who are in South. They worship Vishnu in both Sanskrit and Tamil. In Tamil, they sing songs about Vishnu, what all the great since 12 alvas has been composed the song. So they worship with that. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has came here, some of them doesn't accept that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a incarnation of Lord Krishna. They doesn't accept that. Even we are just a soul, so they can't understand that. So after that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has done a Leela. After that, they understand the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was done a Leela to a Vaishnava, to a Sri Vaishnava. I think so. Yes, he done a Leela. So from that, they can understand about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and they respect him. But they didn't, at my side, they didn't disrespect Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Even though they are saying that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is one of the guru like Ramanuja who spread Vaishnava. That's all. He doesn't know he is Krishna avatar, like something that they don't tell. He's one of the guru. That's all he say. They say.
Acha. And this is one of the Vaishnava, the Orthodox one or the more liberal one, the one you're talking about right now?
Orthodox one is called. There is both of the groups are Orthodox only, Prabhuji. Both of the groups are very Orthodox only. Both of the group very do Orthodox to Lord Vishnu. There is no liberate people like I think so. What you said, both of them are do all the duties, all the sevas to Lord Vishnu with very deep. But now they are not doing correctly. Except the Moolavar, Srirangam Moolavar, they are not doing the pujas and sevas to Ranganatha very piously. They are just doing the pujas and sevas as they want, just their duty they are doing. But the other shrines, other 52 shrines, they are doing perfectly. But I don't like now that they are doing pujas to Ranganatha, like they are doing like your duty. They just come, they just do puja. They don't change the clothes of Lord Ranganatha, the main deity. They just want money, money minded. Sri Rangam has become money minded. VIP darshan, only VIP darshan. You can see Lord Vishnu easily. If you have money, go to 250 ticket and got the ticket easily and see the Vishnu easily. If don't have ticket, wait for till evening. Till evening, wait and see the Lord Vishnu. It's some like painting, money-minded temple. It has been become. Even the rules of Ramanuja was not followed. Ramanuja has been made a agama for especially for Srirangam, which is Pancharatna agama, which he says about what Lord Vishnu were, in which festival Lord Vishnu, Lord Utsava temple should come out. Everyone he has been made, but now it all has been changed. Even the Lord Ranganatha has been taken out of the temple and he sit in an apartment because Lord Ranganatha leave his temple and sit in an apartment, and all the apartment people, all the money, people who have more money will come and see Ranganatha. Ranganatha will go their home because we should only go to temple and see Ranganatha. But now Ranganatha is going to that people who have more money, and Ranganatha is sitting there. And these people are like God, because God is coming and seeing this money-minded God. So now the temple has been money-minded.
Wow.
Really painful.
So ask where this is.
Sri Rangam, we're talking about Ramanuja Sampradaya, Sri Rangam.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah.
Well, we have to understand that the holy name of Krishna, there is no charge for chanting.
Jai.
And Lord Chaitanya he was not particularly interested that people would come into a temple and chant. He wanted people to chant in every town and village, everywhere. And that can be done for free. And if you're doing that, if you renounce everything and you're living dressed in rags and the japa bag or mridanga and gartals, and you're chanting through the streets, if people give you money, if you need it, you can accept. If you don't need it, say, no, thank you, Prabhu. Please just give me a plate of the chapati and sabji, or just chapati with ghee, or without ghee, just chapati and salt. You can say like that to someone when you're walking through the streets. But there's no need to give money to. I mean, what is the option? If you give money, somehow Krishna or Lord Ram will be pleased with you.
Yeah.
Is that the idea?
More or less to some people.
To some people. Oh.
Uneducated people, you can say. Or
yeah, we're talking with Manoj.
Yes, Manoj
right?
Prabhu. Yes.
Manoj Prabhu. What does Manoj Prabhu think?
Yes, Prabhuji.
I mean, is there a connection between donating money to a temple and gaining the mercy of Krishna?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. This is Shreya.
Hare Krishna,
Shreya Prabhu. Hare Krishna. So glad
So
to hear your voice after so many days.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mar Prabhu. I always want to connect, just that work keeps me busy. So it's exactly around the same time I start work. So I had about 15 minutes, thought I'll just jump in, say hello, and offer my obeisances to all of you. And then
my obeisances to you, Prabhu, and my blessing as well.
Fantastic.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Fantastic.
Prabhu, regarding this question you just asked, is there a connection between the donation to the temple and getting Krishna's mercy? All the temples that I have interacted with, they speak about attaining all sorts of blessings from Krishna if they provide donation to the temple. And how do they ask for it? They say if you're not able to donate big amounts, then small amounts. If not able to donate small amounts, then maybe for puja, for aarti, for flowers. That's how they go on asking. They don't have a limit on how they ask for donations. And I have personally seen that lot of devotees just go on providing lots and lots of donations to temples, believing that that's a way of a, uh, what do I say, a good act. That's what they think. They're doing good karma by giving this money to the people who are in need, because the temple tries to help others in terms of providing food, in terms of ashram, for running the daily activities. They need funds, and that is how the rich is capable of providing some support. This is how they manipulate the whole thing. But I don't see any connection with the materialistic world and the spiritual world. So money is always related to the materialistic world, so there is nothing that money can buy spirit in terms of spirituality. So there ends all the confusion. They quote from all sorts of religious books and texts regarding temple constructions and regarding donations. There is so many quotes that they say, something from the Skanda Purana, where they say, if you provide donations, then it's going to take care of 7 after generations. They say all those kind of things. So forefathers are also delivered for all the suffering that they're already going through if you provide donations. They say everything of this sort. So I just wanted to share
Well,
my bit of
Shaya,
experience.
that was brilliant and very wonderful, very paka and very concise and very much to the point. And we thank you for your good analysis coming from the India side, which is even more important since these temples have been there since time immemorial. But I agree 100%. But in terms of personal, going back to Godhead, all you have to hear is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, once. And that will guarantee you go back to Godhead.
Hare
Guru, no
Krishna.
guru.
Hare
So,
Krishna.
But the
Right.
other thing that I was raised being taught by my parents is that temple priests, their only way of income is through what we provide. So, as an act of good gesture, it is okay to give them something so that it helps them survive. Because they don't
No,
earn.
that's of course
The
that it's
only
true. If they're giving to others in charity, if they're distributing prasadam, if they're doing something, it's very good. But not just to gather money into a big money pit and hoard the money or get rich from it. That's not the idea. But I agree with you 100% that if people require things, food, prasadam, distribution. If there's prasadam distribution and the people come, they don't have money, they don't have to pay, that's wonderful to give donation.
Right.
Yeah.
So the whole idea is to help that community which is not going to make money. So yes, it's okay to give donations, but always think, and the only thing I recommend people to do is, when you give a donation, don't be happy by getting a certificate that you've donated. Rather, go check whether that money is being used in the same way that you donated it for. If that is not visibly clear, please don't donate. That's all I want to say, because
Beautiful.
we just give money, but we don't know what happens after that. So that's where we miss
Yeah.
out a whole lot.
Well, you know what Prabhupada said is that the accounting books of the temple, every month they should sit on the temple steps and loudly read out everything in the accounting so that every penny that is donated during that month is accounted for. That's what Prabhupada wanted.
Prabhu, I have heard temple internal people speak very low about donations. I have heard it personally. They call people who donate fools. This is the word that somebody had used earlier. So I felt horrible when I heard this, because people are donating money to a temple with good hope that it's going to be utilized
Yes.
and done for good work, but then they are using it for their personal benefits as well. It's not limited. So I'm not saying
Well, we have to
everybody.
be sure that the perfectional thing is there, but people don't usually care about that. They give the money, they think, okay, now I will become blessed by God if I give money. I don't care what they use it for, but the fact that God knows that I gave the money, and God knows that I did it for a good cause. If they don't use it for a good cause, it's not my fault. But we should be understanding that giving money must result in something for the benefit of others.
Right.
That's what
They
you're
need
saying, I
to
think.
see it happen in life. They need to. It's better to give in kind than money. That's a better way out.
Yes, that too. Yeah. You want a donation? Here's an eggplant. But here's a potato.
Yeah.
Aloo. Here's a bag of alus. That's my donation. Oh, but we can't spend it. No, you can cook it and give it to someone who needs it.
Right.
I like
So-
the
Krishna.
point of view. Yes. So I wish you could come more often. Are you doing well with your new job?
Not really, but it's just going on. I'm just sticking on to it.
Well, I hope you join us as often as you can, because you
I
always
really miss Prabhu. I miss all the
accelerate our
sessions.
devotional spirit whenever you speak.
I miss all our conversations. I miss hearing your voice. I miss hearing Mark Prabhu. Um, I miss Rupa Mataji. I miss everybody. No, Ramchandra Prabhu. All those insightful, quick answers that I used to get. I miss all of that.
Hare Hare.
Well, is there any reason you cannot join us, or there's scheduling problem?
It's just the time. Yes, it's the scheduling part.
What is your job?
I'm working as a product manager, so I take care of the products for the company.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
good.
Yeah.
Well, not only you're doing this for the company, but Krishna is giving you the power to do it,
Right.
which means it's good for the company and good for you.
And
A lot
thank
of
you.
a lot
Thank
of
you.
responsibility.
Yes, Prabhu. It is.
I'm sure you can handle it.
With all your blessings.
Blessing is there.
Hare Krishna.
Blessing is there. But you sound so enthusiastic. I'm very glad to hear that.
I have learned this from you, Prabhu. You told me the other day, always think about what do you want to give to Krishna. So I want to give back to Krishna that I'm happy with what he gives. So it's always better to keep that state of mind in all testing times. So if Krishna is
Yeah.
giving me pain,
Jai.
there is something which is much needed for my growth in the spiritual path, and that is why I'm going through whatever I go through. That's how I've started to see life as. So yes.
Wonderful.
Jai. Very good. Haribol.
Jai.
Haribol.
Jai.
That goes for all of us.
Hey, when do you have to leave? Do you have to leave soon or not?
Yes, another 2 minutes.
Another 2 minutes. Well, then discuss with us. Your 2 minutes on the air, it's very well spent for all of us when you speak for 2 minutes.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. I have started hearing Prabhupada's Srimad Bhagavatam, which I've always longed to hear. Rama Subramanya Prabhu is helping me find all the text and audios, videos. I'm so thankful to him
Wonderful.
for
Jai.
giving
Very
me
good.
access to all that content. So I'm very grateful to this group because you are helping me find what I want for my spiritual progress.
Yes, we don't have any organizational ambition except to organize everyone to chant the holy name and to Istagosthi, meaning discuss the core issues straightforwardly, honestly, and with good heart with each of us. You're speaking as spirit soul, because that's who you are. And then our goal is to try to speak as spirit soul, because that's who we are. And in that way, we don't get caught up in the human disaster on all sides.
We are the jiva.
Yes. Jai.
That's it.
We must continue to speak from the jiva platform.
Yes.
Yes.
Very good.
Yeah, because that platform doesn't change.
That's the only reality.
The jiva takes on different bodies: male body, female body, giraffe body, rat body, grass body, tree body. You can take on so many different bodies: king, beggar, so many bodies. But the jiva is the same. When the jiva understands that it's the same, then the actual liberation of the soul is happening. Because when you say aham brahmasmi, I am the soul, then nothing can dissuade you, no matter what birth you take.
Hare Krishna.
Is that okay?
It's great.
Yes, Prabhu. That's very, very nice.
Well, you're inspiring all of us with your advancement. Your spiritual advancement is helping us advance. If you're talking on the same program with us, immediate advancement. But otherwise, because you're part of our group, whatever you do is on the spiritual level, comes to us on the spiritual level, and we become excited and enlivened by what you're doing.
Jai.
Even we don't hear what you're doing, we can feel it.
Wonderful, Prabhu.
Always a pleasure to have you on board, Shreya Prabhu.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mark Prabhu.
Jai Prabhu.
I'll take leave on that note, Prabhu. Thank you so much for all the love that you show me and shower the blessings on me. I'm really grateful for this group. Rahul Prabhu, thank you so much for making this group. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You know, love in the group means love from Krishna, because as jivas, love means love of God. So you join us, you are being triggered to love of God, and you're triggering us also love of God. Hare Krishna.
Jai.
Jai, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Maybe we hear from you soon.
Jai. Yes.
That's amazing.
Okay.
Isn't it amazing how much advancement she's made?
Jai.
This is what we want to see. Everyone that comes into our association, we want them to experience spiritual advancement, turbocharged spiritual advancement. But that only comes when you understand that you're spirit soul and that everything you're talking about in Krishna is spiritual, and therefore the transfer of energy, what to speak of knowledge, becomes very fast. Jai. Hello?
Jai, okay, we're still here. So we're speaking into the future.
Yeah, now the present, the future, there is no such thing. We're eternal. Where's the future? Where's the
future is right now.
Where's the past? Yes. The future means aham brahmasmi.
No, I'm saying that this is
how can we say future? Because future means has not yet occurred, but we've been spirit soul for millions of births.
Yeah, the concepts, the ideas, all these things we've been discussing.
Yes, yes, sublime. By the way, Gregory, is he ever coming back with us?
Oh, Gregory is in a different time zone, so he might. We'll try to get him on. So
try, and just say that I hope I did not offend him. I was trying to defend a point. I think he understood that.
Yeah.
Defending a principle and a point, not my own view. I have no view. How can I have a view? I'm not God. I'm not Krishna. I'm not a pure devotee. In fact, I'm the lowest. I can't have a point of view. But what I can have is I can defend Prabhupada's point of view. He does have a point of view.
They say who is first is last, and who is last is first. I've heard.
Is that from the Christian teaching?
Maybe. Who is first is last, and who is last is first.
Yes, because we don't know. If a man becomes very puffed up, priest or minister or whatever, gets very rich, and like some of the Protestant megachurch guys, where they have tons and tons of money, what happens in the next life when they encounter the fact that that money wasn't theirs to spend for themselves? Sure, collect millions, spend millions for others, not for your own self. Now, if you want to get rich and spend money for yourself, do it with your karma, but not because you're pretending that this is God's gift to you. Nothing that we get in this material world is God's gift, except the holy name of Krishna.
As a matter of fact, if you get too much and you're not entitled to it, you're going to get punished, according to the Sri Upanishad.
What will happen?
You'll get punished. The person will get punished.
Oh, yeah.
If a person uses more than their quota.
The punishment, the first punishment is you are rich and you got rich off of others. Next lifetime, you'll be poor and you will not be able to get rich in that lifetime. You will just be poor because of what you cheated from others. Ishavasyam idam sarvam yatkincha jagatam jagat tena taktena mujitaha magaraha kvasasiddham. Everything is owned and operated by the Lord.
Right.
So we should accept only those things which are our designated quota, and not accept other things, knowing well to whom they belong, meaning God, Krishna. But the funny thing is, when you get to the Gita, there's a shloka that jumps out at you after having read the Upanishad, and that is nirmama, and that means nothing is mine.
Nothing is mine, yes.
Nothing is mine. Therefore, you accept only that which is your quota, which you can say, yes, whatever you're given, like if you're a beggar or you're a person, deserving person, and people give you something, if it's yours to accept, you can accept it. But then in the Gita, it goes further and says, nirmama, not even that is yours. Everything belongs to Krishna.
Okay, so we have Mahatma Prabhu from Los Angeles here also. Maybe he can unmute himself. Mahatma Prabhu, can you try? I'm sure you're hearing.
Mark, you mean Ramachandra?
Mahatma Prabhu.
Yeah,
no.
He's been talking.
No. Mario Pineda, Mahatma Prabhu from Los Angeles.
Oh,
yes,
Mario Pineda.
Yes, he's here.
Yes.
Can you unmute yourself?
My wonderful spiritual associate for so many years.
Yes, he's here. Okay. Looks like he still hasn't figured out he's not too phone savvy and computer savvy. Is it?
I think he is.
Ramachandra, you can't unmute him?
No, I cannot. I'm asking him to unmute, but he has to click unmute himself. I can't take over people's microphone. I can mute them, but for them to unmute, they'll have to unmute themselves. So,
what
anyways.
If you mute him and then unmute the unmute? Do you think?
No. If I mute him and then I ask him to unmute, he'll have to click unmute himself. Just like I'll mute you right now, and I'll ask you to unmute. Now you unmute yourself now, Narayan Prabhu. There you go. No, not yet. You got to click on the lower. There you go. Like that. Yes.
So why not ask Mario if there isn't a white screen that says stay muted and says unmute?
Yes.
Maybe it's not showing up on his computer or cell phone.
Okay, he just left. So let's continue our discussion, Prabhu. We have a question in the chat. It's saying, Prabhuji, can you say me the routine of Srila Prabhupada? So, the routine of Srila Prabhupada.
Meaning his daily schedule?
Yeah, daily schedule. I guess the ISKCON program is a replica of Prabhupada's spiritual schedule, meaning the programs he wanted to be done.
Yes, but it goes way beyond that too.
Oh yes, this the
When I was in New Vrindavan, I got a chance to be very close to Prabhupada's secret schedule. Not secret, but unwitnessed schedule. But it's true, that's what he did everywhere, not just New Vrindavan. So what he would do is he would appear for the class in the morning after sleeping. He'd appear for class in the morning, and he would be there for the kirtan. He would usually, it depended on the circumstance, he'd be there for the kirtan, he'd be there, give the class, and then all the prayers, everything like that, just as we do in a temple. Then, at taking prasadam, he would then go for a morning walk. And those of us who were lucky enough would figure out a way how to become part of that morning walk. There were the super lucky ones that rode in the car with Srila Prabhupada. And then there were the very, very lucky ones that, like myself, that had a car and we followed over and parked near where Prabhupada was. Then there were the less luckier ones that had to hitch a ride with somebody if they were going to get their goal. But everybody was lucky because of the walk with Srila Prabhupada. And his walk would be usually around the park, or he would go to the beach and walk. In Juhu, he made a specialty of walking on Juhu Beach. It was incredible morning walks. And he would walk, where else would he walk? Where else would he walk? He would
walk in Los Angeles, Hawaii, San Francisco, all places.
Yes, Seattle,
Vancouver, Canada, Toronto, all this, he was not only walking, he was having philosophical debates and answering questions and doing everything all at once,
So he'd be walking along, and people at that time knew it was their opportunity to challenge him and ask him challenging questions. Not negative challenge, but challenge saying, well, the science says we did not go to the moon, or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh no, science has said we went to the moon. I understand you say we did not go to the moon. These were trigger questions so that he would give a dissertation on it. When Sarup Damodar was there, Prabhupada would always have him nearby and call him, what did he call him? It said,
Dr. T.D. His name was Dr. T.D. Singh, Bhakti Sarup Damodar Maharaj.
Yeah, T.D. Singh, but he would say, Mr. Scientist, he would distinguish him as a scientist, then challenge him with questions that he could very seldom answer. They weren't easy questions.
Yeah.
And spiritually, of course, we were all neophytes, even though we considered someone like Sarup Damodar to be advanced. But that was back when the movement was only a few years old.
Right.
But at the same time, we fell in with the mood of Prabhupada's encouraging us, not only spiritually, but intellectually and historically, knowledge-based, everything. So we would go on the morning walk and then come back. When we came back from morning walk, at least in Los Angeles, all the devotees would be lined up on the side of the sidewalk where he would walk. And the devotees, when he came out of his car, each one would hand him a flower, nice flower, rose, carnation, whatever. And then when he came back with his armload of flowers, he'd hand one back to each devotee. Then he would go up in his room for breakfast. Did I say breakfast before? Usually, I think he had breakfast after the morning walk. And at that time, then people could come and see him if they had business to see him. And they would again discuss this different things that were going on in ISKCON, proposals and whatnot. And he would discuss them. And after that, he stayed upstairs and everything would go very nicely until the evening program, in which case he would conduct the evening program as well, give lectures and lead kirtans. He always led the kirtan and usually led the kirtan. And then he would, at some point, he would go upstairs, presumably to take rest. But he didn't take rest. But starting about 10 o'clock at night, this is what I learned at New Vrindavan, because I got to sneak up the stairs and hear him. He would be translating and creating his books. So starting around 9:30, 10 o'clock, he would go upstairs. He had 5 books he would lay out. He had the dictaphone, and he would be in a state of profound mystical trance. This I know because I watched him being in mystical trance. And he would translate until probably 1 o'clock in the morning. Then he would, I'm trying to be sure of the schedule. He may have started earlier, maybe as early as 8 o'clock at night after taking evening prasadam. And then he would take rest for 2 hours. Then he would wake up and do translating again. So altogether every night, he translated 4 to 6 hours while everyone was sleeping. And then at the end of his translation, around 3 o'clock, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning or later, he would again take rest for 2 hours. So it depended on where he was as to whether he went to the morning program or not. But if he didn't go to the morning program, it meant that he was translating extra time. And that's where Prabhupada's books came from. He would write, he would dictate into the tape, then the tape would be sent to Los Angeles, where it would be transcribed, and then people would edit, it would be transcribed and turned into page form, book form, and then after that, they would be edited by Hayagriva. So it was an amazing schedule that he had, and he never seemed unfazed. Oh yes, he got his another 2 hours of rest in the afternoon, between 2 o'clock and 4 o'clock in the afternoon. He would lie down, and I remember seeing him in New Vrindavan, just lying by the side of the road on a shawl, asleep for 2 hours. I would be dumbfounded to see him there. And that's how he got his 6 hours of rest, however many it was, and his spending the whole night translating as well, except for little sleep breaks. Okay, is that okay? Did I answer the question?
I think you did. Yes, he's here still. Manoj Prabhu is here.
Who is there?
Manoj asked that question and he said, okay, Prabhuji. He said, okay.
Thank
Okay,
you
did you like the
for
answer?
answering. Yes, Prabhuji. It's really good. Excellent.
I'm one of the few people that ever listened to Prabhupada dictating, except for his personal servant.
Mahaprabhu, do you want to see a video at the end of the show, Mahaprabhu? I just want to ask you so I can start looking.
I am always willing to see a video.
Okay.
I love it.
Okay, we'll end it with a video in about, what is it, 10 o'clock or something like that.
Okay, we have another hour then.
Yes, we have about an hour, yes.
Fantastic.
Jai, okay.
Jai, Hare Krishna.
We have Suvarna Prabhu. He's from Mexico, I think, or China, he said. In the chat, he said, Suvarna Krishna Das from China got the link from. Then I asked him, can you introduce yourself via audio? Then he said, no. Then he said, Hare Krishna, Mexico. So I'm not actually sure where he's from, but maybe he can unmute himself or just type it in the chat where he's from if he wants to. And we'd like to thank.
That would be nice.
Yes.
You welcome him no matter where he's from.
Yes. All right. Okay. Mahaprabhu, do you have any realizations you want to share? Then maybe I can start the video if no one has any. Then after that, it's just a small video.
Oh, what we have Manoj, he doesn't want to ask questions?
Okay. Suvarna Krishna Das Prabhu said he's in China. In China, okay.
What's the Mexico part?
Oh, I guess he mistyped or something.
Okay. So what did he want to know?
No, he's just joining in the Zoom Istagosthi.
I am very particularly interested in China because I think Krishna consciousness chanted the Hare Krishna mantra, chanted for half an hour every morning in all of the factories, the farms and stores and all those places could transform the Communist Party into a spiritual party of common interest. It could be done. But of course, now everything is very controversial. But when I was in Guangzhou, China, I saw that because I saw the people are all so good-hearted. I was thinking if you could just add the Hare Krishna mantra to their days, it would be so wonderful for them and for the world. Can you imagine millions and millions of people chanting Hare Krishna in China? But anyhow, I know that could be dangerous now in the way the politics are, but because I was there in 2005 in Guangzhou, but I loved it there. I was so sad to leave. Yes? So what's happening? Ramachandra?
Oh, I'm here. I'm here. I was just setting up the video for Mahaprabhu.
Oh, you were. Yeah. Could I ask you what happened this afternoon? We were talking, then you suddenly cut out, and I thought I heard your daughter's
my phone.
voice.
My phone's battery died, and I tried to recharge it, and the phone was very hot, so it had to cool down. Yeah.
I thought I heard your daughter's voice in the background. That's
oh no. I was at work, so no daughter there.
No, I didn't think your daughter was there, but I thought maybe she was talking to you on the other phone.
No.
Okay, Jai.
Okay, Mahaprabhu, you ready for the video then?
I'm ready.
Okay. Srila Prabhupada's video. 1 second. Share the audio.
Krishna consciousness is truly an international entity.
Yeah.
How about intergalactic?
Wow. Got it.
Okay, Mahaprabhu, this is where the fun begins.
Thank you, Ramachandra Singh Das.
Okay.
Jai.
This kind of objection are always made by the atheist class of man. Even Jesus Christ was crucified. So this is the material world. You'll find always such nuisance class of men.
It must cost you a lot of money to go traveling around the world all the time.
Yes, we have got about 102 branches all over the world.
Where do you get the money?
Get money from God. We especially get money by selling our books. You have seen our books.
If you can't charge,
we are selling, according to Indian exchange, we are selling about 25 to 30,000 rupees worth books daily.
Amazing.
Huh?
Amazing.
Amazing, huh?
We can spend all the money of the world. Unfortunately, you do not give us anything.
So I guess they did
So
it.
for the time being, the money will not be used for the construction in Mayapur. It will be used to print books.
Mayapur, they have already taken 1.5 lakh from me.
Now Gopal Krishna in India requested that BBT give him a loan of $160,000. In India, just this during the Mayapur festival, he requested a loan from a US BBT for $160,000, which would be used to construct the second residence building.
How will you pay back?
His plan was that the American temples would purchase rooms, and over a period of 4 or 5 years, they would pay that money back. So is that still approved by you, by your divine grace?
Yes, I know that.
The only thing is that we will have to delay the loan, because for the next 3 months, all our money will be used to print these 17 books.
Castable books, then below. However, we cannot hold up printing, that is not possible. This you must always keep in view. We are not going to, the surplus money we are going to pay. Not that at the cost of stopping printing. You must always keep it. When you require money for printing, there is no question of loan at temple building. This should be our
Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghunaga Sri Deva Gopalaka Krishna Kirtana Ganana Tanapara Premamritampanidhi Dhira Dhira Jana Priya Priyakara Nirmasanam Pujitau Sri Chaitanya Kripa Bharau Bhuvi Kubha Bharavahantarakam Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghunagam Sri Jiva
Gopal.
Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalam.
So there you go. Now that was just a small video because the rest were just quotes about the importance of reading Prabhupada's books and distributing and this and that. So Mahaprabhu, just a small video for you for tonight.
Fantastic. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
I was noticing that when he was putting the tilak on his forehead, he was using both his ring and baby finger. Is that correct?
When you put on tilak, don't you notice that it's hard to get the two lines to separate? So then you use the baby finger to separate the two lines.
Okay, got it. I'm still working on. I'm still working on mine. I'm trying to get it perfect.
Me too.
It's
I've got such a bumpy head that I've never been able to get it perfect.
it's a work in progress. It may take some time.
That's right. It may take some time.
Right.
As the karmi that I am.
No, you're not a karmi. You are a devotee.
Hare Krishna.
If you chant Hare Krishna, that's when you become end of karmi. This is beginning of devotee business.
Thank you, Narayan.
Well, I'm just telling the truth, which hopefully is not that unusual for me. I try to tell the truth.
Fantastic. I love the videos, Ramachandra Singh. We should do it every night.
Oh yeah.
At least 2 minutes, 3 minutes,
Yes,
1 minute. It keeps us connected.
So Ramachandra, who else is on our call right now?
Well, there were a lot of people watching on YouTube and Facebook. So when the video starts, I guess people watch for, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes, and then the views get slowed down. But we do have people who watch it after the video is archived on Facebook and YouTube. So
but is there anybody on the call right now except our little group right now?
That's us. That's it. People are watching on Facebook and YouTube. So
well, why not invite them to call in?
Oh, yes. I have the link posted there. So if people want to join, they can click.
That it's not just a link posted there, it's an invitation posted there for them to join us.
Yes.
We put it this way. We would love to hear their voices. We would love to offer our obeisances to them. We would love to look at them as the future of the Krishna consciousness movement.
Yes.
So are there still people on there, or they're not still on there?
There are people following and liking and doing all sorts of things. So please join us. The link is posted in the description. So just click in if you like. It's an open invitation. Anyone can join. Even people who have never heard about Hare Krishna, they can join and talk about Krishna.
With your permission, Ramachandra, since the boss, the chairman of the board, is it okay if I run through a quick description of what Lord Chaitanya did that is different than any other acharya in the movement?
Sure. Yes, please.
Yes.
Please.
So we know that in the time, you've always heard it before, but it's great to hear it again. That I hope so that 5,000 years ago, Krishna was established as the most honored person by King Yudhisthira, and to do that, King Yudhisthira had to defeat all the kings, of which there were hundreds. Not all of them had to be defeated. A lot of them were happy to bow down, but there was a few holdouts, and he had to conquer them. One of them, named Jarasandha, was the last one he conquered, but very important one, and he couldn't figure out how to kill him. It wasn't easy to kill until somebody was sitting there with a blade of grass and pulled the grass so it split, and it had a twig, and he pulled it so that it split. He kept on doing that. Yudhisthira couldn't quite figure out why. And he couldn't, I think Krishna was the one who was doing that. But when, in the end, Yudhisthira finally figured that out, and he caught on to the fact that Jarasandha means composed out of two pieces, like a blade of grass being put together and then lives like that. So what he did is he went back into the battle with Jarasandha, with Jaras, and he grabbed him and he pulled his legs apart. He immediately split up the middle and died. In other words, he had been formed out of two blades of grass or something by the witch Jara. Jarasandha means, assembled by Jara. So that's how he finally defeated the last person. But moving very fastly ahead to the Rajasuya sacrifice, he honored Krishna as the most honored person. And he did that for a specific purpose, because otherwise Krishna's pastimes were so diversified, one could hardly assume that they were just one person. Coward boy, dancing with gopis, marrying 10,108 wives, all these things no one could imagine one person being able to do. So when he became honored as the most honored person, as Shyama Sundar, he then he was the model for the deities that we worship today, from Maharaj Yudhishthira's sacrifice. Rajasuya, most honored person. So then Kali Yuga began 5,000 years ago. Well, you would think that everything would have collapsed. That's not the way the yugas work. If you consider the Kali Yuga to be like winter, then during winter, do all the trees suddenly have bare branches? No. Brrr. We associate with fall, but brrr, the branches, they exfoliate, and gradually the trees that had fruit, flowers, leaves, lose everything until they're just bare trees. So it takes a little bit of time in Kali Yuga for the Vedic culture to have collapsed. What is the Vedic culture? It's the culture Varnashram Dharma, Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, meaning the priestly sacred class that can lift people with ceremonious means out of this material, out of this level of middle earth, middle planetary existence, and they can boost them up into the demigod world, the heavenly planets. So dying and going to heaven is something that definitely was able to be done, but not at all the way people think nowadays. So then what happened is that this went on successfully for a couple of thousand years. During this Kali Yuga, they've continued to be Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Shudras, and India was the richest and most wonderful country to be seen anywhere. But then, when the Mughals invaded from Iran, they, as they're trying to do now, the Mughals created kingdoms, and they sort of occupied India. They didn't destroy the Vedic culture, but one thing they did prove was that the Vedic culture was not strong, because the Brahmins create the power of the Kshatriyas, and the Kshatriyas, the military men, can create safety for all of the other merchants and the working class. Of course, no matter what happens, the working class will continue to be the working class. They just keep on working because that's what they're good at. But when they work in the Vedic culture, the whole society is uplifted by their work. Whereas without the Brahmins and Kshatriyas, the working class will work for anybody. They'll do anything that they're asked to do in exchange for a square meal and some copper coins. So then the Vaishyas also began to collapse, but the main collapse was with the Brahmins and Kshatriyas, because if the Brahmins had been powerful, they would have made the Kshatriyas powerful. Because the Brahmins were not powerful, the Kshatriyas lost their oomph, they lost their Shakti, they lost their power. And as a result, they were not able to keep the Muslims, of all people, heretics from the Vedic point of view, out of India. So when that happened, Lord Chaitanya appeared 550 years ago or so. He appeared to, we should say that the Brahmins and Vaishyas, everybody that was there, had formerly been part of a very well organized Vedic culture. If you study how Krishna kidnapped Rukmini, she was on the way to the temple of Durga. And are we going to say, oh, was Rukmini a Durga worshiper? No, but all the demigods in those days had particular tasks to fulfill in relationships to the Brahmins and the Kshatriyas and the Vaishyas, everything. They had a function to fulfill, and they did. And the same with Shiva, and the same with Vishnu. There were distinct roles for them. But after the Muslims came, the Mughals, the whole culture began to split apart, and there became Shiva worshippers and Durga worshippers and whatnot. It went sinking down and down and down without any coordination into one Varnashram Dharma. So Lord Chaitanya appeared to destroy that. And what was that called by that time? The Afghanistanis, God rest their souls, the Afghanistanis who could not pronounce F sound tried to call the Indians on the other side of the Indus River as Sindhus, but they had no S sound, so they called them Hindus. And they were so destroyed by the Muslims at that time, whatever millennium the Muslims showed up, that they, probably not that long ago, probably
13th century.
13th century, that means 1200, right?
Yeah.
Is that 1200? You don't
Yeah,
mean,
I think so.
You don't mean 1300, you mean 1200. Okay,
One or
so
the
that
other.
is one or the other, yes. So in the caliphate of Harun al-Rashid, who was the king of Baghdad, they encountered crusaders who were coming to the Holy Land in the 8th century, as early as the 8th century. So I think it was earlier, but the thing is that they came in as early as the 8th, certainly the 10th century, which would have been 1,000 years ago. And they, I believe, I'm not off, not good with math anymore. And so they came in and fought, the Christians fought the Muslims, the Saracens, who had taken over the Holy Land of Jerusalem. Okay, this may have been different, but that the Mughals came in and took over India. So that's not possible in Vedic times, because Krishna, his kings, of that time there were hundreds of kings at the 5,000 years ago. Obviously, they sank down to be far fewer when the Mughals came in. And then, when the Mughals came in, it was time to end the Sindhu mentality, or what we now call Hindu. The fact that the Hindus call Indian people, or even Vaishnavas, or whatever, Durga worshippers, or Kali worshippers, or Shiva worshippers, Vishnu worshippers, whatever they call themselves Hindus, we can see that they're still bowing and scraping with great humility in front of the Mughals. Because how did they get the name Hindu if it wasn't that the Muslims gave them that name? And they still cling to it. So 550 years ago, Lord Chaitanya appeared and said, now is time to end the Varnashram system, to become blessed and holy and chant. You don't have to do anything more than chant the holy name of Krishna. So he introduced the chanting of the holy name of Krishna. And that has been passed down through the ages to Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who revived that spiritual entitlement. And so it means that the word Hindu no longer has any validity and Hindu no longer has any right to exist if you are following the actual Vaishnava Sampradaya. Now, of course, the Hindus like to add Lord Chaitanya to one of their gods, but that's not the idea. The idea is put down your Hindu religion, take up the Krishna consciousness. It's not a religion. It's pure, unalloyed love of God being offered to the common man. Who is the common man? He may be a meat eater. He may be a malacha. He may be anything, but he can chant Hare Krishna. And when the common man chants Hare Krishna, that creates the atmosphere for the age of Kali. Not the whole age of Kali, but from 550 years ago up until 10,000 years from 500 years ago, that is the designated area for all people to take shelter of the holy name of Krishna. So now we ask, not to get too far along, but we want to ask the question, why chant the holy name of Krishna? I mean, Lord Chaitanya introduced it. He broke open the storehouse of love of God, which is the real meaning behind no hard and fast rules for chanting. Not that you can chant any damn melody you please from Bollywood or Hong Kong movies. No. This has to be chanted coming by Sampradaya. And in our case, Srila Prabhupada, from Krishna Loka to here, Narottam Das Thakur says, Hare Krishna comes straight from Krishna Loka. But with chanting, I have no connection. Day and night, I'm burning in this dark world without working to make the correction. That's the pain. Narottam Das Thakur was here in our camp. He was here holding us up when we were falling. He was there embracing us. He was there introducing us to the teachings of Lord Chaitanya. So we should not go out with saying no hard and fast rules when Lord Chaitanya says it means any melody. Now people will ask, how about George Harrison? He didn't chant Prabhupada's melodies. And when George Harrison asked if he could be initiated by Prabhupada, can you imagine? He's following the regular principles, everything. Prabhupada said, no, I want you to continue doing what you are doing. My sweet Lord, I really want to see you. You know, he wanted George Harrison to be George Harrison, not an ISKCON devotee. Because he's an ISKCON devotee, then he can't chant his own melodies. He has to chant the Vaikuntha melodies. That's why Lord Prabhupada didn't want to initiate him, or any of the Beatles.
Wow.
So anyhow, going back a little further to Lord Chaitanya, he came here, if you may notice, in a golden color. You know, see, Lord Chaitanya, gold colored, right? So you might say, is this just another eccentricity of Lord Chaitanya, such as Ramachandra coming in a green color, or what? No, he came in a gold color because he said, I'm God, I know everything, except one thing, the extent of Radharani's love for me. This is sort of interesting. How can God not know his expansion's love for him? Can you just go to that expansion and invade it and get the point? Oh, this is how much she loves me. You could do it, but it would be very, very harsh on your great expansion named Radharani. So he decided to come here as Radharani, therefore golden color. And when he did, he introduced the chanting, wild chanting, broad chanting of the holy name of Krishna everywhere. And within his reach, he traveled into South India, North India, every part of India, Jagannath Puri. He chanted And everybody chanted with him. And he'd go into a village full of Hindus, probably Hindus, yes. Probably most of them Durga worshippers or something like that. And he would be there with the Panchatattva. They would be chanting so ecstatically for a week and feasting. The villagers would cook them amazing feasts. And Lord Chaitanya would request dishes and the villagers would cook them. But at the end of that week, they got up and they left in this whirlwind of transcendental ecstasy. And when they left, these houses that the villagers had were made of what is called chittai, or woven bamboo, with thatched roofs made of straw. And when they left, the dancing had become so wild and uncontrollable that there wasn't a single chittai house standing in that village when they left. The ecstasy was so great that the people, by dancing in ecstasy, had trampled their own houses into just sheets of bamboo, woven bamboo, lying on the ground. That is the nature of the kirtan that Chaitanya led. So, what was the nature of this kirtan? It was ecstatic utterance of the holy name of Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And why? It took me decades to figure out why. Because he had come in the mood of Radharani to understand Radharani's ecstatic love for him. And why couldn't he understand it? Because every time Radharani bestowed on him not only her love for him, but the other gopis, Lalita, Vishaka, Rupa Manjari, and all the cowherd boys and gopis and everything coming up the line, coming up the pipeline of bhakti in Krishna Loka to Radharani, she would gather that all together and give it to Krishna. And while he was insanely pleasured by what she would give him, there was one thing he couldn't understand, and that was she was already working on the next offering, and he didn't know what that was going to be. Couldn't understand. He was responding to her. He couldn't understand what she was up to in gathering more bhakti. And when I say bhakti, it's not just blanket bhakti or heavy metal bhakti or something like that. What it is individual moods of unlimited jivas in the spiritual kingdom called Krishna Loka, where there are unlimited cowherd boys, unlimited gopis, unlimited everything. And there they all are developing specific, unalloyed love of God iotas, meaning that everything they're experiencing as unalloyed love of God is fresh and new and never before encountered. You think, well, if they chant Hare Krishna, hey, I do that all the time and my mind wanders sometime also while I'm chanting. Not in Krishna Loka. In Krishna Loka, when they chant, when they not even chant, it's the same as chanting. When they chase cows, when they churn butter, the gopis churn butter, when they give milk to their babies, when Mother Yasoda gives milk to Krishna as a baby, up till 7 years old, I mean, that is all fresh and new. Every ounce of it is every instant of what is we would call time, but which time does not exist in Krishna Loka. The pastimes exist, but they're ever fresh. They're never repetitious. Oh yeah, he steals butter. Yeah, he gives it to monkeys. Yeah, but you're not dealing with exactly which monkey and how did he steal the butter and from which pot did he take it and how did he give it to the monkey? What was the monkey's reaction and what happened when the monkey shared it with the other monkeys or fought off the other monkeys because they wanted some and Krishna gave it to them too. All of that is fresh and never before done. Throughout eternity, may I add. Forever, may I further add. We cannot imagine, because everything we have in this world is measurable. including birth leading to death. But there's no death, and there is no birth. There is eternal existence. So that is what Radharani came here to do. And so Lord Chaitanya, in the mood of Radharani, began chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. And that Hare Krishna mantra was distributed to all the jivas. The Hare Krishna mantra was being distributed to all the jivas, which did what? And it took me until now, a few weeks ago, I should say, to grasp what I could have known back in 1968. And that is the chanting. We say, Lord Chaitanya says, and Prabhupada reiterates, the chanting by hearing the Maha Mantra once, the jiva will go back to Godhead. Now there's people who are anxious to go back to Godhead. And all I can say is, anyone who becomes a devotee, a Kanistha Adhikari devotee in an ISKCON temple or outside of an ISKCON temple or anywhere that hears the holy name of Krishna, Maha Mantra once, what to speak of repeats it, he's going back to Godhead. There's no question of it. He's going to go back to Godhead. But the next question, devotees say, okay, I'm going back to Godhead because I'm chanting Hare Krishna. Now my big, greedy, selfish question is, when? How soon? And the answer to that is quite simple. You go back to Godhead when you go from the Kanistha platform, which all of our ISKCON devotees are on, and many of our Hindu ones that follow the regulated principles are on. You come up there, and then when you want to be in Krishna Loka, you need to reach the Madhyam Adhikari platform. Madhyam, believe it or not, means medium. Maybe the word medium comes from Madhyam. You come up to there. And when you are gradually divesting yourself of all the good things you've done as a top pujari or whatever, or king or anything in the Kanistha Adhikari platform, you learn that the mode of worship of Krishna directly is very different than the mode of worship of a deity. So even if you're a top pujari worshiping the deity so nicely, it will be different when you're approaching the Madhyam Adhikari platform, because you'll be dealing with Govinda, not a ritualized worship such as we do in our temples, which is perfectly good. We are worshiping Krishna because we worship the spiritual master, in this case, of course, Srila Prabhupada. He worshipped Gaura Nitai, and they worship Radha and Krishna as pure bhakti. So the Kanistha Adhikari Pujari, even though he's very advanced Kanistha Adhikari and may be weeping while he's doing the arti, he is worshiping Prabhupada, who worships Gaura Nitai. And so that worship goes on. But in terms of the type of worship, that's not how Krishna is worshipped in Krishna Loka. In Krishna Loka, Krishna is not worshipped with an artik. He is worshipped because of his nature, his personality, who he is, as a cowherd boy. And the cowherd boys run with Krishna in the field. That's far more involved than just performing an artik to a marble deity, even though that marble deity is actually Krishna. Krishna can be anywhere and everywhere and is. So then, as the Madhyam Adhikari, he has to learn to let go of his Puchari worship maybe fanning the deities in the temple or offering conch. And he has to learn how to do this directly to Krishna. And how can he possibly know how to do it? He's a Kanistha Adhikari, meaning he follows the regulative principles and he goes to morning and evening class. He's a Pachari. That's all these nice things. Takes all the Krishna Prasadam. So with all those pluses, now he's ready to enter Madhyam, medium, in between Adhikar. And he comes there and he learns how to worship Krishna directly. Now, how can he do that? Who's his teacher at that point? Does his guru go with him there? Not exactly. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Prabhupada's spiritual master, said that Vishnu is guiding him and the spiritual master remains outside of that structure, making sure that he doesn't make mistakes or fall down. Because you can fall down from Madhyamadikari. You can get puffed up. Oh, I'm Madhyamadikari. Then crash. There you are on the ground. So Bhaktisiddhanta said Vishnu, but we can understand when he said Vishnu, he is meaning Vishnu in the heart of the living being called Paramatma. And the same Paramatma that supervised you when you were a maggot eating dead flesh in a pit is the same Vishnu who is now guiding you into direct service to Krishna. You might say, well, how can Vishnu know about direct service to Krishna? He is Paramatma. He is Krishna. He's not separated the way the ordinary Vishnu is. You know, the first, second, third, fourth expansions of Balaram, who's expanded from Krishna himself in Krishna Loka. No, no. This Vishnu is perfectly conversant with Krishna's pastimes and guides your every motion. If you were fanning Krishna on planet Earth, now in the Madhyam platform, where it appears to be you're on planet Earth, but only you and Paramatma know that you're not, and Prabhupada, is you are fanning him, learning to fan him as he is in Krishna Loka, not as he is in a marble deity. Makes sense, no? After all, Krishna is not a marble deity in Krishna Loka. And as that goes on, as he goes on into the worship of Paramatma, guides him in the worship of Vishnu, he's still inside of Maya. He's inside of the universe, dark universe. That you look outside, you can see it right now, at least if you're in California. Maya, you're in that Mayic universe, but he's fanning like through a curtain of Maya. And he doesn't know if Krishna likes it or not, but Paramatma encourages him when he's pleasing Krishna, and he guides him when he's not yet pleasing Krishna. But in the end, let's say the Madhyamadikari is successful, and he's still inside that covering of Maya, of the universe, the dark universe that you can see at night. And his service of fanning Krishna becomes pleasurable to Krishna. He can feel that because Krishna reciprocates emotionally, psychologically, with rasa. But only when Krishna is 100% pleased, then Prabhupada said like this, if you could see my fingers, the curtain of Maya rolls up. And he can see Krishna faith comes under the protection of Yoga Maya. Yoga Maya is what separates one rasa with Krishna from the other. So the cowherd boys don't think they may be gopis or anything like that. Mother Yasoda doesn't know about the gopis who would drive her crazy. Why? Because it's his mother. My little baby's not going to go dance with girls in the forest. So anyhow, that's what Yoga Maya isolates your relationship with Krishna. And at this point, Krishna is 100% pleased with you, and you're 100% giving pleasure to Krishna. And remember, everybody likes to think that God is the one who's doing all the work. Oh, God wants me back. God is giving me this. God is helping me in this way. No, God is playing with gopis or is drinking milk with Mother Yasoda. Krishna is not interested in what you're doing right now, unless you're engaged in devotional service, in which he becomes marginally interested. You have to become interested in serving him. Our goal in life of Krishna consciousness, of chanting the Maha Mantra, is to Krishna shall be pleased by our actions. Not that Krishna will please me and pick me up by the nose and plop me into Krishna Loka. No, that would be presumptuous on our part. Why? Because Krishna doesn't have anyone in Krishna Loka that's not involved with his in the mood of pure unalloyed love of God. And Amadi Madhukari is working at it, but he doesn't have pure love, unalloyed love of God. When finally he does, then the curtain of Maya rolls up. He comes under the protection of Yoga Maya. The dark universe is set aside for us to stay in, I might add. And look out the window if you're in California, you'll see what I mean. And he then is in his rasa with Krishna, which is eternal and which is sustained by the love of the devotee, reciprocated by the acceptance and love and appreciation of Krishna. So it's not that Krishna gives us love and we have to learn how to accept it. That is not bona fide. We offer love and Krishna either accepts it if it's perfect or he doesn't if it's not perfect or even almost perfect. And Paramatma guides us. When it is perfect, then the curtain of Maya rolls up. We come under the protection of Yoga Maya and we can see Krishna face to face. And I may add, we will never fall down into the material world again. At such point, a person is qualified to become like Prabhupada, an acharya who can come down to earth by Krishna's desire, not as a reward for the material desires where he can become a dog or a cat because he thought it would be so much fun. No. When the pure devotee comes down, he comes down to deliver you and me, all of us. He comes down to deliver the blades of grass and the trees, birds. When he chants, he's permeating everywhere. Do you think they will not understand? I did the first time I believe the first time I ever saw Prabhupada was in a weird birth that I took as a Mongoloid idiot by the side of a road in India. And I was sitting there with a beggar's bowl in that birth, looking for alms because my family didn't want to feed me unless I could bring in some money. So people would drop a coin or two in there, maybe a pomegranate too. Who knows? I don't remember. But anyhow, Prabhupada walks by with a string of disciples. And they're all laughing at me and mocking me because here I am, an idiot. They're not idiots. They're Brahmins. They're devotees. They're twice born, all that. And here's this idiot by the side of the road who probably seldom took a bath even, and with a beggar's bowl. And they're laughing and pointing. So Prabhupada smiles and points at me also. But I got a different feeling. The disciples were mocking me. Obviously, they were Kanistadakaris. They were mocking me for my misfortune. But Prabhupada was doing differently. He was offering me his mercy. And that's the first time I met Srila Prabhupada, as I can recall from a past life regression. So we shouldn't think too much of ourselves for becoming disciples of Prabhupada. We should understand that without Srila Prabhupada's blessing, I could have gone on being a beggar until today. What would have stopped me from continuing to beg?
Hare Krishna.
And amusingly, when I was in that state of beggar, why the past life regressionists broke the rules and blurted out, what did you do in your previous life to be turned into this beggar? And boom, I was there in China amongst Ming vases in a palace. And I was so aloof. I walked with my arms crossed inside my kimono. I looked down my nose. I spoke sharply to all the servants. That's where I get my sharp tongue. And I was going around and around like that. And I didn't speak. My whole job was maintaining the palace, maintaining the culture in the palace, maintaining the priceless vases from Ming Dynasty and other dynasties. And then when I died, I hadn't spoken. I just walked around staring, making sure everything was not disturbed in this palace, that it was my palace. Next birth, I became that idiot by the side of the road because I had shown nothing except that harshness of character, guarding everything. So there I was guarding my bowl with a few coins in it. And then I became a devotee out of that, eventually. So then you're in Krishna Loka. That means you've become the Uttama Adhikari. Uttama, interestingly enough, seems to be the root sound vibration for ultimate. There's the Madhyam, which is the root sound for medium. There's Uttama, which appears to be the root sound for ultimate. And what is ultimate? It means like everyone else in Krishna Loka is an Uttama Adhikari. They have reached a perfectional stage. They're in their eternal rasa with Krishna. And whether they're with Krishna at all times or whether they're serving Krishna from afar in some part of Krishna Loka, whether they're a cowherd boy or a gopi or whatever they may be, that's who they are eternally from that point onwards. So that's what it takes to become successful devotee in the Krishna consciousness movement. So we have work to do now because the Kanistha Adhikaris have placed themselves as initiators. And I like to, Ramachandra and I like to refer to them as unnecessary gurus because they're not offering anything that they don't already have. Oh yeah, what is that thing that they already have is the holy name of Krishna. I left out a chunk. The holy name of Krishna chanted once, you go back to Godhead. But interestingly, back to Godhead doesn't have any time involved. But on earth, you go back to Godhead, but you're still here taking birth after birth after birth. So how does that work? So you're back to Godhead in Krishna Loka because that's the promise of the Maha Mantra. But you're not physically back to Godhead because you're still attached to your body and all your appurtenances and all the things you have. So it may take thousands of births after hearing the holy name of Krishna to go back to Godhead. So now here we are with the leak for 10,000 years of golden age of Kali. And why is the golden age of Kali golden? You can have one guess, but I'll spare you the effort by saying because Radharani is golden. And what happens during the golden age of Kali? People chant incessantly. We must get the plants, the trees, the birds, the animals, everyone. They won't be able to chant out loud. The trees won't. I don't think. They might be able to chant psychically. I have never been I won't say I've never been a tree, but they don't chant psychically usually, I don't think. But even if they do, we have to keep them going until everybody, every jiva in this golden age of Kali has become, who has heard the Maha Mantra once. So if we chant to the fish as they come up near the seashore, well, they will take it back to their friends in the ocean. We should not hesitate to do this. It's not about advancing yourself as a Hindu or shortcutting the process of salvation or mukti as a Hindu. Forget Hindu. Hindu is finished. End of story. We are now directly following in the mood of Radharani herself by chanting the holy name of Krishna in Kali Yuga. Why does she want us to chant in Kali Yuga, which is an unlikely place to chant compared to Krishna Loka? She wants us to chant in Kali Yuga because she wants to replicate, she, meaning Lord Chaitanya, wants to replicate the mood of Radharani in Krishna Loka, so that that replication of mood will be that everyone is chanting and Radharani gathers up that mood and gives it to Krishna. So when we chant japa, when we chant kirtan, when we chant in the street, when we chant on our japa in the street, hopefully reaching out to the plants and bugs and whatnot to hear the Maha Mantra, we are falling into the path of Radharani in Krishna Loka. Because Lord Chaitanya came as Radharani. And as Radharani, he tells us all to chant. So what other outcome could there be? I ask. Anyhow, that is the path, that is the process, that is the outcome, and we can produce an outcome for others. Because the longer we take to chant to others, the longer it will take for us to go back to Godhead. If people say, oh, I want to chant Hare Krishna on my japa beads, and I want to block out all the people, I want to get rid of my godbrothers who don't chant as nicely as I do, I want to do this, do this, do this. Well, that's going to take you a bloody long time to go back to Godhead, I assure you. But if you and your godbrothers, instead of hanging out in one place, hiding from the karmis, if you go out into the fields, go out into the streets, Nagar Sankirtan means in the streets with instruments, Madanga Kartos. How do you imagine how many jivas, never mind the humans, are paying, how many jivas hear you that are given relief? When I go out in the morning and chant japa, I chant and I open my eyes, my heart, my mind, and invite the plants in. When I chant, I feel them. I can see they are vibrating somehow inside. I'm not saying it's some big dramatic difference. I'm saying that's what I think is happening. I feel it happening. And if it is happening, good. If it isn't happening, who cares? They still hear the holy name of Krishna. And can you imagine how many blades of grass there are in the lawn that are individual jivas? It's amazing. I like to use the example of trees and grass because they're there. They can't run away from you the way people can. Oh, stop. I don't want to hear that. What is this? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. You know, they can say that. If they say, what's that, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, then your mission is fulfilled. Mission accomplished. But you get my point. It's time for ISKCON to change course. It's time for ISKCON to abandon the idea of disciplic succession, because we have reached the disciplic succession in the form of Srila Prabhupada. And I may add, if you want to know the exact sound of Lord Chaitanya chanting, well, go to Thakur Bhakti Vinod. Oh, is that too late? Well, then go to Gorkashodas Babaji. That's probably too late too. How about going to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati? Yeah, he's gone. It's 1920s. Well, how about coming to Prabhupada? Didn't he enter Samadhi in 1967? Said, no, but he left behind recordings. All you have to do is turn on your iPhone or Android phone or whatever phone you have, turn it on, go to a website that has Prabhupada Kirtan, and you will hear Prabhupada as though he were standing next to Lord Chaitanya hearing for the first time. So why do we need gurus? You don't need gurus. Your guru is Prabhupada. He gave you the holy name. What do you do after you have the holy name? You embrace it and you make it available to each and every jiva anywhere. When you chant japa greedily all by yourself, hoping to go back to Godhead at the end of this lifetime, you're actually chanting to all the germs, microbes, enzymes, and whatever existing in your body. You probably want to get rid of them or take some, medication to get rid of the germs. But while they're there, before they get killed by your medicine, chant Hare Krishna, and they will go back to Godhead. They will become humans at some point. And that's what we're asking for, is that all the jivas, regardless of species, that hear the Maha Mantra will become humans and then become pure devotees. But that will be because of you. Even if you're not experienced, even if you only chanted once in your life out loud, they will go back to Godhead because of you. Even if later on you say, I hate Hare Krishna, doesn't matter. The louder you say it, the more people go back to Godhead. When you say, I hate, what did you hate? Hare Krishna. Oh yeah, okay. Back to Godhead for you. Anyhow, I think that's the end. If you have any question, feel free to ask. But this one statement given, I've made it for those who are on YouTube, for those that are on Facebook, those that are hearing from some outside source. I've made that statement so they will understand what to do next forever until they become Uttama Adhikaris.
Okay.
Okay, so are we there? Is there any question?
Mahaprabhu, any questions? We're about the end of the hour, so we're about to end.
We got 10 minutes, but
yeah.
Is there any question from anyone?
Mahaprabhu, you got to unmute yourself. You got to unmute yourself. Oh, there you go.
Beautiful discussion tonight. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Did you like it?
I loved it.
Is it believable?
Absolutely.
That's exactly how believable it is. On the absolute platform, therefore, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
I am only the
Haribol.
go-between. I'm the person that had the fortune of meeting Prabhupada. And
Amen.
now I cannot stand to see something other than his intent made present in the world. And this is his intent. He advised me of this confidentially.
Hare Krishna.
So that's why I'm doing it.
Haribol.
Jai. Any other question from anybody else?
Just a good night to Rupa.
Text. Good night. They can text them in if they have a question. I don't want to go on for another hour. I just thought in 5 minutes, if you have a question, I would be glad to.
Okay, I'm just looking if there's any questions. No, there's no questions. So if there is any questions, feel free to click on the WhatsApp link in the description and you can come in and ask your questions in the chat room.
Probably by talking, put them to sleep. Oh, well, but it was recorded. Therefore, somebody who's awake may hear it.
Okay. All right, then, Prabhus. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Glories to Srila Prabhupada.